Gotta say, it does feel good to be home. Silverstone, it never disappoints. And Tier 3, we've had three different winners from three races. Will tonight be 4 for 4? We'll find out soon enough. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to round 4 of our FPRL Season 8 Championship. As mentioned, we, put in quotations, are back home. Silverstone, yeah, just this track needs no introduction. Me personally, love this track. Always produces a classic, a banger of a race, and we're in for, hopefully, we're in for no shortage of action tonight, because Tier 3, it looks to be a very, very closely contested championship. I say that because our championship leader, the Flo, in the Mercedes, was in a title contender last season. Now he's on top of the standings by 3 points over last week's race winner, Panic End. But that mid-pack behind, from P3 down to P9, is only covered by 7 points, and that is a very large pack of cars that look to make an impact and a dent on the Flo and Panic End's breakaway at the top of the table. Might as well introduce who I am. For those of you who don't know, I'm Cruise Rating 72, back on a Monday for Tier 3, but I need someone to help me out for commentary. I wonder who could fill such a void.
Yes, tonight, obviously, throughout the whole of this Tier 3 season, Monkey Boy Kurt alongside Cruiser tonight. Hope you guys are all well this evening. Hopefully we're going to be in for a fantastic round 4 of the season. As you've said, Cruiser, the Flow leading the championship by 3 points to Panic in his second. But there's definitely one person we want to watch out for tonight. He's been boasting so much in the Discord chat about how he's going to absolutely smash the field tonight, and that is Reese 4981. I'll be very interested to see what kind of time he can produce tonight.
I suppose Silverstone, either you love it or you hate it in F1, or at least in the video games. But I'm going to be gushing about this track all night, and I do not apologise. But anyway, we're on board now with Magic Ram in towards Sector 2 through Brooklands and now Luffield. Such a tricky little corner to get right, but a multitude of lines you can take. Got a yellow flag around the Vale chicane. I think that is going to be Wizard of Oz getting ready for their first run. But I think we might as well reflect last time out around Canada. We had a sprint race, a first of 2 sprint races this weekend. Or I'll say this weekend, this season. And I think we've seen a small glimpse of what Novus can do. We've seen in the pre-season what he could do. And he finally got the job done in the sprint. It just hasn't happened though for the Sauber team. But, speaking of Sauber, we've got a brand new driver on the field. And I'm going to apologise deeply if I get this name wrong. Faisal in the other Sauber, and you'll notice too, playing from, I believe that is PC, J Undisputed and Novus playing from PlayStation, as well as Novus Scotty, also on PlayStation with the Wizard of Oz. Tier 3 we're seeing a lot of variety in amongst platforms being chosen, as Magic Ram does a 29-2 to top the standings, followed by Sid Sandwich joining the lobby. How timely, Sid. We'll have a look at what Sheriff Woody can do, winner of the maiden round in Bahrain, and a 28-3, a good effort that from Sheriff Woody. But like I was saying, we've opened the quote-unquote forbidden door for FPRL. We are allowing all players from all platforms, Xbox, PC, PlayStation, come on into FPRL, as Panic End picks up where he left off, a 28-0, as we are just about to approach the 5-minute mark, GSY, and a 28-3 also. But if you guys want to race in FPRL, streaming on twitch.tv/FP Racing League, Nightbot will drop a link to our recruitment server, or using !F1 in the Twitch chat. We'll give you a link to our Discord server, complete the sign up steps, and we'll get you on track for approaching the halfway stage now of Season 8. Goodness me, where's the time gone? And be sure to follow our social media platforms too. We have a YouTube channel, FP Racing League, where all of our races are ported from Twitch to YouTube to relive the action as much as we wish to. We'll jump down with David Lawface going through the Maggots Beckett's complex, heading up towards Chapel. A dangerous corner to invalidate, but David copes quite nicely there. And as well, social media, our Twitter, I'll say quote unquote Twitter, Fairplay RL, Instagram, FairPlayRL. There's Discord links everywhere for you to join, so there's no shortage of chances for you to not be competing in FPRL. 8 PM UK time, be here, be square for Tier 3 on a Monday, Tier 2 on a Wednesday, and Tier 1 on a Friday to round off our week at Silverstone, as David Lawface goes 7th. And it looks like Reese, so far, proving his word, half a second clear of Faisal in 2nd place.
Yeah, early suggestions are going to be that Reese is going to absolutely dominate this field as the flow. I'm just on board, but gets a little bit of a snap out of the final corner. Definitely lost a few temps there. Goes up into P6 of a 28.3, but definitely can improve. Like I say, coming out of that final corner, definitely lost some time. We've got some more drivers about to come through. FPRL Locker starts his flying lap. We've got Jan on a lap. We've got Button on a lap. Now, we know that Button is very good in quali, so let's see what his split time is here through Sector 2. It's a 5.39, and that's going to put him around about where 2nd, 3rd and 4th are. Let's just see how well he takes the last sector of this iconic track as he now comes down to the final 2 corners. And he'll be hoping to get a good run out of the final corner. It's very easy to lose the back end as he comes across the line. Where's Button going to go? And it's up to a 1:27.6, and now slightly challenging Reese, only just under 2 tenths behind.
Button did run out of battery deployment though, going through the final corner of Club. So, might cost him a couple of hundredths, but still, Reese is not running away because Button, as we know, the 1 lap pace is always there for the Williams driver. He showed it plenty of times this season, it just hasn't quite clicked for him in the race. Now we'll see what Locker can do, being somewhat followed here by the 2 Mercedes drivers. I see GSY actually ahead of the flow as Panic End improves to 27.7 to accompany his teammate in 3rd. See what Locker can do as around the final couple of corners he goes through Vale and Club onto the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight, and the start finish line for Locker looking decent. So 28.7 puts him in the top 10 ahead of the Tattooed Star. And I think last up on a lap, we're going to be starting a lap, is going to be Jay Undisputed. Looks like he's doing 2 warm-up laps here, so you know what? Like Magic Ram, let's go for a tour of Silverstone with Jay.
Yeah, so here he comes in. Go on, you go.
We both had the same idea. Anyway, Abbey now farm in towards turn 3 and then the loop. Such a devious corner to get right. You want to swing wide and get the run in the exit, but not bogged down too much. Now through Ain Straight and the Wellington Straight. Yes, I love Silverstone that much. I can name every single corner on this game. Not using a track map. ... But through Brooklands, Luffield and then Woodcote. And then the long, never-ending run down the old start finish straight towards Copse Corner, a track with plenty of history, and Copse no exception. Shout out to Verstappen and Hamilton a few years back, classic. And Jay flat out, a slight downshift though on exit, which is quite common actually, from what I've pardon me, from what I've seen. Not ideal. And now through Chapel, completely missed out the complex of Marriott's and Beckett's. But like I was saying, you change down midway through Copse just to get the traction and keep the revs up for the exit. Now towards Stowe Corner and the final few on this lap. Jay looking decent, looking to maybe challenge David, who's currently in 10th, as Locker has actually improved up to 4th on a 27.9 out of Faisal, who's gone out for a 2nd run. But Jay looking decent actually for the RB. And tell you what, he'll take that. He's ahead of the flow, up in 8th, and Sid Sandwich says, hello, I'm here too. And both of the RBs now sandwiched between the Mercedes.
Yeah, I definitely think there's definitely some time to be found out there. Some of the guys down the back, for example, Wizard wasn't set a time, and he was radical. We've got Nova Scotty, our new driver tonight, along with Faisal. Well, Faisal's doing quite well at the moment in 5th. But definitely some time to be shaving off these times at the moment. Just trying to see now who we've got back to come. We've got Magic Ram, I think it is. He's slightly up. What's he going to improve to, if anything? He improves to a 28.8, which puts him just ahead of the Tattooed Star for now, so up 1 more place. So obviously we'll take that. But now we've got some of the Red Bulls coming around. Here comes Radical, 1:04.0 for Sector 2. This is going to put him around that 7th, 8th, 9th mark. around the sort of the 28 flat. And I think he might have got a little bit of a bad exit out of that final corner. But into P11 he goes for now with 28.3. Next to come across the line will be a Red Bull. That's going to be... Who is that going to be? So Red Bull, it'll be one of the RBs, but they're going to come into the pits. So yeah, I think there's still definitely some time to be found over. Scotty hasn't got a respectable time on the board yet. It'll be interesting to see what he's going to do. In fact, he's coming around now. 1:03.8. This looks very good from the Aston Martin full-time driver now. And he goes up into P8 with a 28.0 as well. And we've then also got the Wizard of Oz coming round, and he goes pole with a 27.4, and maybe Reese isn't going to have it all his way after all. And I think we also saw that Jay got a 5-place penalty for some reason. Not sure what that was for, but it looks like he's got missing in front wing.
Yeah, hardly ideal that for Jade, but I've seen some yellow flags around Stowe. Might have hit David while he was letting other cars through. But Strotty up in 9th, a decent effort for him, and I've just noticed Novus JSY. I say Novus, we've got two of them. I need to pronounce his surname now. Uwaja? Sorry. Oh, Strotty, JSY and Uwaja now between 5,000ths of a second. But Oz, we've seen his qualifying pace. And for all Reese has a few bragging rights to say to himself, Oz has said, okay, watch this. And Faisal's actually not far behind either. Another debutant driver for the Sauber team, and is up in 3rd after improving to a 27.5. Who else is on a lap? Paniken's on a run. I think one of the Mercedes is on a lap too. That looks like it's going to be JSY, as the flow is actually on their outlap. So I believe JSY is just going to start a second push lap, so that'll be the flow ahead of the Sauber. We're going to follow Paniken though for the remainder of this run. Got another Sauber crossing the line now. That's going to be Novus, who just pips his teammate by 3,000ths. So many fine margins around this track. He's just finding said margins to make it stick. But what about Paniken? How is he coping? He's down by 3/10. This might be an abandon on the second run. Get some fresh tyres on and go for a final run. Or he knows he's lost time in the final sector. He's going to finish this lap, and no, he's not. 3/10 is just too much, and he's going to back out of that run. And a quick reminder too to all drivers, the pit limiter here is not 49, it is 37. For some reason.
Yeah, that's going to catch some people out, I think, today. And also bear in mind, this is the longest pit lane, for speed as well, at 37 miles an hour. Longest time you spend in the pits on the whole calendar. So if there is a safety car today, it will definitely be in the driver's best interest to make a pit stop if it suits them. Because obviously they'll have to gain a lot more time than people behind them in order to make an undercut work, etc. So, Aviation looks like he's backed out of his lap. Is he going to go again? A bit of a risk if he does, or is he going to come in and get some fresh tyres? No, he's going to go again here. Only 4 minutes left on the clock, so I think he's going to see if he's going to improve on this lap, and if he's not improved, then dart in and get another set of tyres ready for the final run. We've also got Novus, who's now finishing off his lap coming in. We've got Sheriff Woody, now the winner of the first race of the season in Bahrain. And he darts into the pits as well. He was 3 temps up there, but obviously must have had a bit of a bad entry to club. And yeah, I don't know if he's going to have to get some more tyres now. But is anyone going to come across the line for a fast lap? Yes, we've got the flow, 8 temps up, and he's lost the back end a little bit again there, but what can he do? He can put it on pole, that's what he can do. Provisionally, he's got 3.5 minutes. It's going to be very, very nip and tuck if he's going to have another run. He's got to get a move on, either that or recharge that battery and go for one more. We've also got another RB out on track, that's Sid coming round, and Jay. Aviation, here we go, he's validated, so he will get in the pits quick as he can, and he will be out for one more run. We've also got Panic End, who's come out early in the McLaren, and Reese, who's only going to have 2 runs at this, so he's got to make sure that he gets a good run, doesn't invalidate on this final one. He's been giving it all the hype about how quick he is around here, and at the moment he currently sees himself in 3rd place, which to him, as high as that is, will probably be a bit of a failure for qualifying.
still a long race around here, but third place, it's no, I wouldn't say it's a disaster, but it certainly isn't worth giving it the biggin, as we would say. But we're going to follow Locker. We gave him the kiss of death in Canada. If he does it again, I am sorry. But from now on, if it does happen, Locker, we will not follow you for the remainder of our lap. He's up by 2/10. He's getting a cheeky little slipstream here from one of the McLarens, at least trying to. Panic End, it looks like, was aware to that as Reese begins what could be their final lap. Locker is going to complete what quite possibly is their final lap of this qualifying session. He's up by 2/10. Going to make it all up here through Vale. Takes that very nicely. He's got a lot of battery deployment. Rinsing it down to the line for the Red Bull. He improves but stays in 8th, which honestly, I don't think he'll be too upset with that. He's only a couple of tenths off of the flow. But now, I think all eyes are on this man, and that is Reese. Can he deliver from the expectations he set himself? Not to everyone else, but from what he said. He's got a lot of time to make up, which being a 10th and a half, but good luck doing that without much battery in stock.
Yeah, I think he's used it far too early. He's only on medium. He's only on medium. He's supposed to be on hot lap.
Oh,
and
he's invalidated!
There's the invalidation. And how much longer have we got on the time? 1 minute 20. He's going to have to try and now get as much battery back on the hangers straight, because he's not going to have enough lap to go round for an out lap. And I think he will not get pole here, because I don't think he's going to be able to get enough battery back in the last couple of corners that he's got. Who have we got coming up to the line? I think we've got... no, I think everyone's on a fast lap at the moment. Novus...
Panic End's your best bet, but he's going for a second push lap. That looks like an Alpine's going for it. That is the Tattooed Star, who's on an out lap, just trying to get some clear track. Everyone's starting to bunch up now, so I think our best bet is going to be Button. He's just going through Brooklands now. He's up by 600ths of a second and has not drained his battery. I think harvesting it mostly for this middle sector and that run towards Snow as we got a whole...
Just quickly, Cruiser, here comes the flow. Oh, he's done it again. He was 10 thousandths up. He would have gone even quicker. But that will be the end of quality for him. Will he be able to stay there? He's on provisional pole at the moment, but as you say, Button will be the next person, I think, on a fast lap across the line.
He's going to be the first one to cross the line and set a lap unless Magic Ram gets a move on. But Button is up by a 10th and a half. He's got just a little bit more to make up though, because currently as it stands, that will put him up in 3rd ahead of Reese, who's not going to get another lap in, I think, or at least improve with how short that battery is. But Button's going to use all his deployment around Vale. He's got to take it as best as he can. He's still got a bit of battery left in stock. 25, 6, 7, not quite, but he goes 3rd ahead of the McLaren of Reese. It's now, can Oz find the improvements of 1/10 and snatch pole away from the flow, or could even Novus or Faisal find something? But Novus is up by half a second in that first sector, and Faisal's been impeded. But David Lawface has received the penalty for it. I don't know what's happened there for the Sauber, but I think we're going to stick with Novus as there's one of the Red Bulls doing a cheeky little drift in the background. But what can Novus do? We know Ozzy across the line. Is it going to be an improvement for the Haas driver? Is going to be just ahead of Novus on track, who is behind this Alpine of the Tattoo Star. Oz crosses the line. It's a 27-1, but can Novus dip to the 26s? No, he can't. He's lost time. He's only 4th, and it looks like, unless Jay pulls out a lap of a century here and gains a second, we're going to follow Jay, see where this puts him, as around Vale and Club for the final time. But it looks like it's going to be the Haas of Wizard of Oz to take pole position at Silverstone around the final corner, and Jay, who'll be satisfied with that, it's 9th place for the RB. But Oz, when it mattered the most, he takes pole position for tonight's Tier 3 British Grand Prix.
Well, I think once again a fantastic session. Reese, I'm going to have to wind him up, giving it the big one all day today, and starts P5. I think he should have maybe had 3 runs. But the whole grid almost from 1st to 14th, I believe, under 2nd around here as well. I mean, this is one of the longest tracks, not on obviously times because it's such a fast track, but 1:27.1 is pole and 1:28.0 is 14. In fact, no, Sid is under a second as well, just. So we've almost got the whole grid with second. So I think we're in for a really good race. We've got a couple of five-place penalties in there, though. One is for Jay, who's going to drop to 14th. And we've also got David Lewis, who's got a 10-place penalty. So he's going to drop to the back of the grid. So not ideal there. He's got 2 penalties there, David. I'm just going to try and see in the race director before we go off quickly.
Jay and David both got a 1 for hitting each other. And then
so
David got 1 on top
there.
of that.
So, yeah, David's had contact. Don't know if it's his own fault. Probably isn't, knowing David. But with 2 drivers, and that means that it's going to be a very interesting race. With obviously the Wizard of Oz once again showing his class in qualifying, taking pole position with a 27-1. We saw last week, especially in the sprint, Wizard of Oz and Novus having a good battle together, and they start first and fourth. Our Championship League flow second. Panic End, maybe a bit disappointed with that quality, down in 9th. But I have to say, good outings for our debutants tonight. Novus Scotty and Faisal, 8th and 6th respectively. I don't think you can complain with that with your first race in FPRL. And he's getting a drink. Is Cruiser. So yes, we will. Oh no, I think I'm stuck on the. Yeah, I think I'm stuck on the pause screen, which is fantastic. So I'm gonna have to leave the lobby, but I'll obviously wait until Cruiser comes back. But yeah, very interesting quality session. We can confirm that David Lopez has dropped to P17. Jay now to P13, would have been P14, but obviously David's dropped as well. But a very tight grid. We've seen a mixture of tyres from the drivers, I can see on the race director, but obviously that will all be revealed in a few moments when we get underway for the formation lap. But yeah, so the flow leads the championship 42 points. From Panic End on 39 points, and then we got a little bit of a gap for the next driver. So I'm just going to bring it up now, as we now are underway for. Oh, my game seems to sort itself out now. We're off for the formation lap. So while we're going around, I'm just going to get up the championship standings. So yes, so it's quite close then. After we got 10-point gap into Robsu, who isn't here tonight. Obviously, 1 in Australia. He's on 29 points. And then it goes 28 Sheriff Woody, 27 Reese, 27 FPRL Locker, 24 David Loleface, 24 The Wizard of Oz, 22 Novus, and 15 Radical. That is your top 10. So it's very tight there. Obviously, that 10-point gap between second and third. But as we always know in this tier, anything can change. So very, very close tier. And the Wizard of Oz, if he takes a win today, will go up to 49 points. Which will put him ahead of the flow, obviously, for now. But obviously, depending on where the flow finishes, that might not be the case. But nevertheless, we look forward now to the start of this race. And I'm on my screen going to bring up the tyres for everyone. Obviously, you won't be able to see it yet if Cruiser is not back yet. But we've got basically half the field are on softs, half the field on mediums, and we've got one sole runner on the hard tyres. And that is the Tattooed Star, who starts in P15. So I'll quickly go down the order for you from back to front with what tyres they're on. So P17 in the Williams, David Loleface on softs. 16th, we've got Magic Ram on mediums. 15th, we've got the Tattooed Star on hards. 14th, we've got the first of the RBs in Sid Sandwich on the soft tyres. And 13th is Jay on the mediums. Second is Aviation on the softs. And then we've got 3 medium runners of Sheriff Woody, FPRL Locker, and Panic End. Debutant Novus Scotty starts on the softs for Aston Martin. 7th is Radical on the mediums. 6th, another debutant tonight in the kicks out, but Faisal starts on the softs. P5 is Reese on the mediums. P4, Novus. I should have got to call him Oega now, as obviously we've got 2 Novuses. He starts P4 for the kicks out, but on the softs. And then the top 3, Button for Williams on the softs. The Flow, our championship leader for Mercedes on the mediums, and our pole sitter, the Wizard of Oz, on the soft tyres for Haas. As we now look forward to 5 red lights for this Tier 3 British Grand Prix.
Yep, and I'll let you breathe. You were on a roll there, just letting you keep doing it. At least we don't have decent camera angle, though, that we can actually see the start of the race. Anyway, as you said, Wizard of Oz is on pole, championship leader of the flow alongside him, but a multitude of tyres, strategies and bid calls to be made over 26 laps at Silverstone. We're foot to the floor in racing. Once more in FPRL, the flow getting a ton of wheel spin off the start. That's like Button down the inside of him and around the outside of him. Oh, they collide! The flow just holds it though. But there's a Sauber that's struggling there. I think that's Nova Suadia down at the back of the pack. He got a massive twitch there, having to avoid the flow. But Button cutting the nose in front of that McLaren, not quite the McLaren, but the Mercedes. But the McLaren have panicked in with an almighty start on the mediums. Ahead of JSY, Sid, Scotty having a feud now with David Lawface, who's had a tremendous start from 17th up to 9th. But Oz, Button, Faisal and the flow from 2nd to 4th. But could have been far, far worse for the Mercedes.
I think there was definitely contact between Novus and I'm not sure who it was. I actually noticed that the flow and I think Button came together and that caused Novus to try and do some evasive action. He couldn't hold the spin and he now drops down to last place. He's always having bad starts as Novus Saiga, but now he's got to try and fight back through the field. We also saw Jay pick up a 3-second penalty for corner cutting for whatever that was. Drops down to P16, Sheriff Woody down to P15 and Reese has also been caught up in that mess. He's now down to P15 as he loses his downforce through Beckett's and Maggots, now P16. What a disaster it is for all the hype he's given himself coming into this race. And now Button takes the lead of the Grand Prix, the Wizard of Oz and Button, the two quality experts, shall we say, and now fighting at the front with, like you say, Faisal on his debut in 3rd place on this first lap of this British Grand Prix in Tier 3. I think we're in for a cracker.
JSY and Sid going around club, and JSY was not conceding that place, but Sid saying, no, you're going to. And now David says, thank you very much, I'll take 8th place away from you. And David, what a start from him, especially after the grid penalties. He's up 9 places from the back of the pack into 8th. It's like David's got the red visor on, and he is on a mission tonight. Sid Sandwich 7 places himself, but the biggest losers, to no one's surprise, is Reese and Nova Suaga at the back of the pack with potential wind damage also. Faisal faring well though, up in 3rd but on the softs, as we'll get back to our tyre graphic after the quick positions change. The Tattoo Stardo is actually holding on quite well. He's on the back of Locker, who's a little bit further behind Scotty. I'm not sure if Locker got caught up in anything around turn 1, but he's 2 seconds behind the Aston Martin tonight, the sole Aston of Nova Scotty, who's very much in this lead train, which is ended at the Aston, and a second train from Locker down towards Magic Ram, and G Undisputed as JSY gets a really good run there on David, who's got a bit tight out of Chapel. JSY to the inside of the Williams. David knows wiser to not fight so hard, and he's going to let the Mercedes back past them. On the inside goes JSY, and he's restored 8th place. But we start lap 3 with Button holding the lead from 4th on the grid. He's now 2nd as Wizard of Oz, and Button with the fastest lap, trying to break that DRS, but easier said than done around here. The Flow, Radical up in 5th, Panic End, our championship contender with the Flow up in 6th. Sid up in 7th, a good start as well for the RB from 14th up to 7th, as now Scotty and David having a go through the loop and in towards Aintree. Looks like Scotty has his tail up and he wants to have a chance against David, jump on board and look behind the Williams and see that Aston Martin growing closer. But I think common sense wins that fight there for Scotty. He's not close enough to David, who holds 9th, as there's a duel at the front between Oz and Button, who's had a poor run there going through Luffield, and the Haas is just giving him a little reminder that he won't get so lucky the second time round. But Oz still holds 2nd place, and Faisal and the Flow, you see all 4 of them in the one camera shot. Actually, I'm going to turn off the telemetry real quick and just see, you're at 7 cars in the one frame as there's a collision at the back, and Scotty's gone around Cops. Scotty has lost out against David, and he's lost out massively.
Yeah, and now David looks like he's fighting with Aviation Jet Winding. Now will retake the place, surely, with the DRS that he will get. And he does go back up into 8th place. Like you said already, David having a cracking start to this race. Up 9 places into 8th position. But this is a great battle at the front here between Button, Oz, Faisal, The Flow, Radical. And now Panic N's getting on the action. Even Sid's hanging on to this pack. This is an absolutely fantastic start to this race. And I really thought we were going to have a Hamilton-Verstappen moment there on the lap before between Button and Oz, but it didn't come to be through Cox. But here we go then. Once again, Wizard of Oz is going to have the DRS coming down the Wellington Straight, and before we get to Brooklands, I think he's going to have another go here as we get that fantastic helicam. I don't know if you've got it as well, Cruiser, but I have on my screen. Here comes the Wizard of Oz. Who's going to be last? The late breakers here. Wizard of Oz takes it round the outside, and he retakes the lead of this Grand Prix. But it's now going to have to try and get the slipstream down towards the Hanger Straight and through Beckett's and Maggots if he wants to try and get back past. See, now he might even have a go coming into Cops. Are we now going to see what we thought we were going to see last lap? No, we're not. But I think it's better of it for now. We've got everyone else patiently waiting behind, and here comes Faisal now on the charge, trying to get on towards the back of Button. He's right on the back of him, trying to even take him around the outside of Beckett's and Maggots. On this occasion, will not do it. But Button now will get the DRS. He's 4 tenths behind the Wizard of Oz. Could we potentially see this go 3 wide? Up down the Hanger Straight. As far as we're going to have a go as well, we won't. But Button retakes that place. What an absolute fantastic train we've got on the front here. 1st to 7th, separated by 1.8 seconds.
I think really a sensational 7 right now, all of them, and with a chance of a very strong result tonight. As we know, a yellow flag in Sector 2, Scotty's had more problems than they told tyres, and it's went from bad to worse for the debutant tonight, as Panic N having a feud with the Flow. That is important for the championship, as Panic N gets ahead of the Mercedes, and he's now ahead of the driver who's ahead of him in the standings. Panic N now up to 4th place, and now got his eyes firmly set on Faisal and the top 3 who started out on the softs. And I wonder if the mediums are now starting to come into their own, as Button's giving Oz the squeeze going through Brooklands, and now Luffield is still side by side. Oz though having the battery advantage, he's not using much of it, and I think is playing somewhat of a longer game here as the Haas. He's on 95%, Button, last I checked, and is on 40%. Faisal was looking towards maybe teens, and he's not quite. 40%, he's recharged some of that back. Panic End, the Flow, Radical, all hanging in there on the mediums. But that battery for Faisal and Button, you put them together, and it's still not as much as what Oz has up at the front, as the Flow's got a 3-second penalty for going off the track at Chapel. It happens in time trial, and it's happened to the Flow tonight, as Button once again retaking the lead. But Oz is aware to it. Button made that move on the last lap. Oz says, okay, I'm going to go for a switchback. But in towards Vale, Button again holds strong. These two, toing and throwing for the lead of the race. And at least on lap 6, we still have 20 laps left of this. Can these guys, honestly, can these guys just keep racing forever? Because I don't want to get bored of this.
This is absolutely fantastic. Probably, I think this is the best start to a Grand Prix we've had all season, to be honest. In all 3 tiers, Magic Round picks up a 3-second penalty, but the action is absolutely non-stop. As Button now is going to try and hold off Wizard of Oz again down the Wellington Straight, but with 2 attempts on him, I think Wizard of Oz is going to go straight back past it again. As he now comes down the straight, is Button going to try and hold it? They're going to go to Brooklands side by side yet again, and there we go, the Wizard of Oz back up into the 1st place. And everyone's just waiting patiently behind. I think just waiting for maybe these 2 to collide or make a mistake. But the ones that are in the driving seat at the moment, potentially on tyres, Panic and the Flow and Radical, all on mediums. And obviously all within this front pack, they can go a bit longer and they'll have the soft tyres at the end. So they're looking good at the moment. That's now Button only 2 tenths now behind. He got a little bit of a bad run there, but he's made it okay. And Faisal is just so close. Oh, and leaves a bit of the back end there. There's Faisal, then comes Panic and surely can have a go. And this DRS train is so powerful, it just allows no one to get past. However, on that occasion, Button didn't get past the Wizard of Oz, as we've now got Nova Scotty, who has retired, unfortunately, on his debut race. It wasn't the best start of the 6 laps for him, and we've got someone in the pits, and that
Scotty.
is... No, we've got someone else in the pits. We've got Sid in the pits.
Sid? That That's a surprise.
I don't know if that's an early stop to go onto the hards potentially and maybe try and get an undercut, but I rate it. Maybe he's got some damage potentially. Let's have a look. Let's see if he's got any damage. He has got damage. He's got some damage to his front wing, and he goes on to the hard tyres. He can go to the end now, but that's really going to affect it.
Hardly ideal there for Sid. He was doing so well up in 7th place in this lead group, but now they were 6th. And in the background there, JSY is actually starting to make some inroads here on Radical. He's now 1.6 seconds behind him. As I'll go back to our intros graphic. Yep, now 1.4 seconds. JSY has now found a new life on those softs. And David doing what he has to do is just stitching with the back of that Mercedes, trying to draw himself closer to that group. Lockhart, Sheriff Woody, and Jay fighting over what is currently 9th, 10th, 11th, and the Tattoo Star going well in 12th on the hards, going very long in this race, maybe go for a late send on the softs, who knows. But I think right now, the primary battle here is Panic End and Faisal for 3rd place, but the Flow's got an almighty run on that McLaren. He's going to look around the outside, it's Stowe. Panic End gets the squeeze on him and says not now, or at least for the McLaren's sake, not ever. But the Flow still looking for that overtake on his championship contender, and these two know this is a great chance now to pull away from the pack, with Sheriff Woody scoring only 1 point. Rob Sue not even racing tonight. This is their chance to break away from that chasing pack and behind them.
Yeah, it is. David's boxed as well. Has he got any damage? I hope he hasn't, because this might be an early stop for David. Is he going to go onto the hard tyres? He's going to go onto the medium tyres now. Can he take the mediums? 18 laps is the question. It's a bold move, and it potentially will allow him... Oh, the close one, another penalty. That's really going to ruin his race. David is close at the front. But potentially, David, he can get out in some fresh air here, which he's going to. He can now push on and potentially try and get amongst that front pack when everyone else comes in. But the Wizard of Oz still ahead of Button, 3 attempts. They're just switching virtually every lap. And Button probably is going to once again try and go past down the hanger straight. And I would have thought this front 6 would have separated by now, but still, even after I said it a couple of laps ago, they're still 1.7 seconds together from 1st to 6th.
Truly incredible. 6 cars, 6 different constructors actually within that closer window. But I think Panic End has now had enough of Faisal's games. He wants that overtake, but he's rinsed his battery. So is the Sauber. He's going to look down the inside. So is Button on Oz, and they collide. Panic End just holds from the spin, but the Flow and Radical now go through. Panic End, did he get forced into a mistake there by the Sauber as further back? That looks like Button's in. Button and JSY are going for the pit stop, so Button really going for this undercut here on Oz, trying to extend that gap and even break the DRS, but we're going to eventually jump down to the Williams. What tyres is it? It's a set of hards. So Button is committed to go to the end, and I think if you're the likes of Oz and Faisal, this is the lap to pit. Regardless of what happens, you need to make that pit stop now. Yeah,
they're going to have to come in to cover off the undercut. Like I say, it's a very long pit lane around here, so you've got to make sure, and what you said as well before, in qualifying, you've got to go 37 miles an hour, so everyone's got to be careful of that. Whistler's got a 10-second time penalty last time out in Canada, but surely you would think now Whistler wasn't Faisal. The only 2 runners now left on the softs, they've got to now pit. Otherwise, and Radical! Oh, and what a move it is from Radical! And now the Flow's trying to get involved, but it's literally hits the back of Faisal, and he's got the balls to send it around the inside of Cops. Faisal ain't going to like that, and surely he's going to go right back at him down the hanger straight. He'll not get the DRS. Here comes, we're 3 abreast down the hanger straight. Here comes the Flow, who overtakes them both. Are we going to stay all clean here? The Flow does take the position. Unfortunately for him, he has that 6-second penalty to his name. But Panic End is in already. Maybe going onto the hard tyres here. But
that is definitely.
Faisal has come in. But Wizard of Oz stayed out. I don't know. He's going to be losing time to Button. And now the gap between him and Button is 28 seconds. I'm not entirely sure what you lose around here, but I think it is probably something like that, near on 30 seconds, I think.
Well, regardless, I don't know if Oz is going to go for a soft to medium, a bit like what David done. But you're looking towards maybe lap 12, lap 13, to begin to do mediums to the end of the race. As it was Button, panicking, losing out in the pit stops, as he's out just behind JSY. So JSY's really made that undercut work, and even at that, David's now up in that lead group, as we suggested. As it was Radical. First time wasn't so nice. He's gonna go and do it twice into Lord's chops, and this time it's the Flow he's got ahead of, who I don't think is very happy with that. But he's gonna return the move in towards Magnus and Beckett, and I think Radical somewhat let him back through there because of the battery. But these two, they have to stop fighting so hard, because Oz 3.2 seconds ahead, and Sheriff Woody only 4 seconds behind him. And there you see Locker and Jay, and the Tattoo Star as well. They're slowly catching up to this fight here for second place.
They are. They've got to be careful here, this pack that have already pitted. Button, Faisal, David, and Aviation Flat Matt. They don't want to fight too much, because Wizard of Oz, that's all he wants to happen. As now Wizard of Oz, he goes again, and surely this is going to be a soft to medium strategy. The gap has not really come down as well. It's still 28 seconds as Faisal now overtakes Button for potentially the net lead or net second in this race. But they're fighting too much here, and the Wizard of Oz is taking advantage of it. And the longer he takes these softs at the moment and gets onto some fresher mediums, the more he's going to enjoy it come the end of the race. He should be able to pull away from the pack. As you said though, the Sheriff Woody, Locker and Jay starting to catch Radical on the flow a little bit. Up to around about 3.5 seconds now the gap is. But something that will definitely throw a spanner in the works for some of these drivers is a safety car now, as we've got a yellow flag. It's Magic Ram that's off, but it's not going to cause anything, as he hasn't put it in the wall or anything. I'm wondering, Wizard of Oz surely can't take those softs a lot longer. Obviously, half race distance is 13 laps, and you would have thought that the softs would not go half race distance. So I think potentially we might see him in this lap. As Aviation overtakes David around left field. And yes, he does make that move stick. Are we going to see the Wizard of Oz in? He now comes to the end of the hanger straight. And are we going to see him pull off into the pits? No, he's going to go again. And to be fair to him, he's actually gaining on Faisal and Button. It's now 28.8 seconds. It was 28.2 at the start of the lap.
I think that's mostly because they're fighting right now. Faisal, Button, JSY now in 10th. But will Button make the move in towards Stowe? See, Faisal's battery is actually not too healthy either, but Button just can't get close enough to make the overtake. That gap, 28.5 seconds. David Lawface, if he can stick to the back, as I said, actually JSY giving a little hello to the back of the Mercedes. Can David Lawface throw a spanner in the works as well, like Faisal is doing right now? He's somewhat holding up Button.
Yeah, these two are ruining their own chances of the win here, I feel. I feel like someone that's going to have a really strong aim to this race, and potentially finish in a really high position, is Radical. He's obviously behind Fly, but he doesn't have any penalties as of right now. He's only 3.3 seconds off that lead of the Wizard of Oz. So very interesting. He's going to have to take those tyres to at least probably about lap 15, lap 16. There's only another 3 or 4 laps. And I'll say it once again now, I'm pretty sure we're going to have to see the Wizard of Oz come in. But Willie, he's still gaining. If he's still got life on those tyres, why not go even longer and have even less on the mediums to finish off? We look at the people that have actually pitted. So stops, yeah, everyone from 1st to 7th is still yet to stop. Faisal is the net, and here comes the Wizard of Oz. Now, where is he going to come out? He will want to be ahead of this fight. Oh, he's done it again!
No! The one thing he had to do, and he's went and done it.
He's literally just thrown the race win away potentially. Well, he's going to have to gain 10 seconds now. It's as simple as that. Is he going to come out ahead, though, of that fighting pack of Faisal? Oh, Faisal's actually lost out there. He's gone behind David Lowface, and now David will try and probably work with Button to try and hold up this pack as much as he can to let Button get away.
Jump them.
Here comes the Wizard of Oz, and the Wizard of Oz is an absolute mile ahead of them. I thought it might be a second or two, but he's come out massively ahead, more than I thought.
I mean, 3 seconds, but a tyre warm-up as well. But interestingly, Locker's not far behind this group either. Radical holds the lead now over the flow. Jay undisputed in 3rd, Sheriff Woody's in 4th. Oz has got nearly 2.5 seconds over Button, but he's got a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Surely he can. Can Oz pull 8 seconds over Button and maintain this lead?
Well, I think one person you've got to watch out for, like I've already just said, is Radical at the moment. Radical is only, well, put it this way, he's 26 seconds ahead of Button. I reckon that he would probably come out around about where Button is if he was to pit soon. But it all depends on how much the Wizard of Oz can gain on these front two. It currently stands at 23.1 seconds. Just interesting to see how quickly does that penalty come back, does that time come out? It's a safe penalty. Reese does get a penalty down in 40th. He's having an absolute dire race compared to what he thought he would. As Panic N now getting back in on the action. Aviation fighting him towards the end part of that. Oh, Aviation's on the grass. Oh,
David's gone. Oh, David. Oh, the rears are cooked now. The Tattoo Star's got a 3-second penalty, and David Lawface, it was going so well, almost too well. And I think as for Reese getting that 3-second penalty, it's always the hope that kills you in the end. Anyway, the Flow taking back the lead from Radical, but has 6 seconds in penalties. Radical is in with a good chance at something here, but he's got to really think about his pit stop because he's got to manage his tyres and just stretch them out a little bit longer as there's a yellow flag. I think that's Panic End who spun. Going through the loop, Panic End has hit problems and has lost out massively to GSY as Magic Ram sums up Ferrari's season so far as out of the race. He kept going until he couldn't go no more. But the Flow looking behind him against Radical, trying to defend against that Red Bull, but Radical's got an almighty launch on him. Looking down the inside is Radical, not quite. But these two have got to think about their pit stops, and I'm assuming lap 18, lap 19 possibly, or if there's a safety car, the likes of Sheriff Woody and Jay Undisputed, they guys are really back in this race. But they've also got to consider Oz's 10-second penalty. He's 22.3 seconds behind them as they start lap 15. How much of that will they lose in the pit stops as there goes Magic Ram's AI car, keeping out the way of everyone. Well done, Codemasters. But Faisal and JSY getting a little bit detached now in a bit of no man's land themselves after David's mistake. But Faisal is still with a chance at something, as Wizard of Oz, a fastest lap of the race, and that gap now between himself and the Flow, 22 seconds.
Yeah, but I don't think he's bringing that gap down quick enough. 22 seconds, he's only gained about 1.5 seconds in 2 laps. And at the moment, Radical, 26 seconds ahead of Button. I reckon if he pitted now, he would literally come out pretty much level with Button, and he will be on soft tyres to the end. I reckon Radical here is a big favourite for this race win. We've got to remember that Wizard of Oz has a 10-second penalty, and if there is no safety car, he can't serve it. And if there is a safety car, he has to come in for another stop and then serve the penalty. So I really do think here Radical just needs to keep it on the track, avoid the penalties. He'll have the softer tyres at the end of the race. He should catch the Wizard of Oz, if anything. He's looking very good. I mean, Sheriff Woody's 7 seconds behind, but I'd even say that Sheriff Woody is still in with a good shot of getting some decent points as Jay's trying around the outside. He's on the gravel. And he will go off there. And here comes the Flow into the pits. Radical has got to pit, I would think, next lap. And he can take soft tyres 10 laps. We've seen it done by the Wizard of Oz. Radical can definitely take those tyres that long. And I think, looking at the gaps, I think it's probably wise that he pits the next lap, Radical.
I don't know, it's getting us off that far. It's gonna be torture at the end. But where is he gonna merge in context of Button? Because the Flow is actually heading down the pit lane now. He's about to exit the pits. We can just about see him there, pick him out in the background. Like, where's Waldo? And the Flow is gonna get out ahead of Button. The Flow now, and with a proper chance of victory. But yeah, I think you might be right about that Radical move. He's got to cover that off. The Button's got 1.4 seconds to the Flow, and Radical is just going to keep losing time. He still owes the lead though, does Radical. And importantly for him, he's got a clean slate. The Flow, 6 seconds. Oz, 10 seconds. Button and Faisal still have no penalties, along with Sheriff Woody. Locker down in 11th place, getting caught up in that fight with the Tattoo Star. But all the cars in front of Locker have a penalty. David, Sid, Reese and Nova Soaga at the back. A wretched start to the race, and it's not really got much better, to be honest, for the Sauber. But we'll jump up towards Radical. Is this his pit stop window? And the answer is yes. The Red Bull is in the pits, and I think needs another sub 1.8 second pit stop to get him out, at least somewhat close to the flow.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to have to quickly, momentarily leave the session because I think I'm stuck on the pause screen. I'm just going to watch from the pause screen, though, where Radical comes out as Jay takes the lead now.
Flo's got another penalty. And now, I think really, advantage Button. But where is Radical going to emerge? There goes Oz. There's the Flo. Button just starting a lap, and Radical has timed this to absolute perfection, I think. He's going to get out side by side with Button as we head towards the farm. He's out just ahead of Button. Button's going to have the DRS. Radical now. This is now going to be a two-horse race between Radical and Button, but will those soft tyres last?
I'm not too entirely sure, but I'm going to leave the lobby and I'm going to need just a quick invite back if that's from our cruiser.
Yep, I'll do so at the right time, but Radical takes the net lead of the race from Button. The fresh softs, and now if you're Radical, you absolutely fly, soar, grab a jet, do whatever you can now to run away from that Williams. Jay Undisputed holds the lead, but hasn't made his pit stop yet. Oz is in second place. Made his pit stop, but got a 10-second penalty. The Flo's in third. 9 seconds of penalties will actually confirm that with the penalties graphic. And now Jay's in the lead, but it's got 3 seconds to his name, and it's going to drop down, I would imagine, just ahead of his teammate Sid, if he makes his pit stop, which he doesn't. Jay, I think, is gambling on a safety car at some stage, but Radical, he's rinsing that battery. He knows he's got to break that DRS now, and just hope these soft tyres last, as now would be a good time to invite back my comms partner, Monkey Boy Kurt. There we go. All is done as I see that. David getting moved on Sid there, and Sheriff Woody getting the move done on the Tattoo Star in towards Vale. Brave there from Sheriff Woody, showing that despite winning the race, he's had a bit of a poor run of form, but a glimmer of hope there for their Haas. He's up now to 9th place, and going to be 7th place at the line, should all go well. But I think critically, Radical has broke the DRS to Button, despite using a bit of that battery. He's actually got a healthier battery to Button. And I think Button, making that earlier pit stop, he's got held up by Faisal. And is that where this race turned in its head?
Yeah. Did you send me an invite, Cruiser? Because I haven't received it.
I'll send you another one ASAP. Oh, there you go.
Oh.
Says you joined back. There we go. Anyway, lap 18 at Silverstone. Jay Undisputed holds the lead, but has not made his pit stop yet. Gambling, I think, on a late-ish safety car to get himself back in this lead group. Radical is in 4th, but dare I say, is the net leader of this race with the cars ahead of him on penalties. Button in 5th. Faisal having a good outing in 6th. JSY is in 7th, Panic End in 8th. Sheriff Woody joins the 3-second club in 9th, and the Tattoo Stars in 10th under increasing pressure from FPRL Locker, and that pressure is relieved because Locker's just got by the Alpine. Locker back in the points, and Panic End getting the move done in JSY, and so is Sheriff Woody for that matter. So JSY down 2 places in as many corners as the Flo sets the fastest lap. On how old tyres is that actually? 3 lap old softs and sets the fastest lap. I think he's got the memo here. There's the Mercedes, and he's got to run away.
Yeah, well, what Radical will be hoping now is that the Wizard of Oz and the Flo fight each other. Reese gets another penalty down at the back in 14th. But like you say about Jay as well, he's probably waiting for a safety car because 18 laps on mediums. Yeah, he's trying to get this to the end, I think. Yeah, only driving up to stop yet. And as we see, the Flo getting ever closer now to the Wizard of Oz. He's within DRS range now. As it stands, Radical will be taking the race win at the moment. At the moment, will be taking 2nd, and I think Faisal will just be outside of the podium place because he's currently 11 seconds off the Wizard of Oz and the Flo. So he will be out of those podium places. We've still got 7 laps to go though. Here comes the Flo, and the Flo knows that he needs to try and get past as soon as possible. The DRS is far superior down that hanger straight, and now he takes the net lead of the race as the Flo. But he has those time penalties to his name. The J now pits. And I wonder where he's going to come out, actually. J should come out in around about P11. but he's going to have some blisteringly fast tyres for the end of the race. As the Flow sits another fastest for 1:29.0, but the gap between him and Radical, as we now wait for it to update, 4.4 seconds. Radical just needs to make sure he keeps it on the track, and this race win's going to be his.
Well, anyway, Radical's halfway there, but so is the Flow. He's just got to hold on here as we see Oz getting the DRS and trying to return the favour to the Mercedes, and just see how much of a slipstream pull with the DRS you get around this track. It's almighty. However, I think importantly for Radical, even if he does get a 3-second penalty, he's got around 5 in handover button. Faisal's in 5th now. Somewhat of an actually lonely 5th, to be honest. As we see, Jay, you were right about him. He's out now in 11th place. But he's got fresh softs and the cars in front of him. The freshest tyres are 7 laps old, so Jay is going to know about that fresh pace pretty quickly, because first up for him is going to be Locker, who, dare I say, might not actually fight that battle too hard. He's not got any penalties, everyone else in front of him does. So if you're Locker, you just got to stick to the back of that train and gain at least 2 places. Not a problem there for the Red Bull, as you see Oz looking again to retaliate to the Flow. Not yet does our poleman and the championship leader currently. Radical 4.4 still behind them. He's maintained the gap on this lap. As we start lap 21 of 26, we've got 6 laps to go at Silverstone. The Flow and Wizard of Oz, this whole race is going to come down to the penalties between these drivers. And can Radical hold on to, if I'm correct, take his first victory in FPRL and continue the trend of Tier 3? 4 maiden winners in 4 races potentially is on the cards.
Yeah, it's literally turned into a fantastic season. Already, we're not even through the first half of it yet, as Reese is into the pits again and retires from the race. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, you know, I haven't got a lot of sympathy, to be honest. But yeah, that sometimes happens when you give it the big one. You know, it comes back to bite you on the arse, and that is what he's done for Reese today. But big any battles happening. Jay, look at Jay, he's up into 8th. Locker, Panic End, the Tattoo Star, 8th to 11th. What a battle this is, and we should probably see Jay just pull away now from this pack. And with the superior tyres, are we now going to see Locker and Panic End through cops? No, we're not. But Locker doesn't have a penalty, so he will leapfrog these two as it stands right now. Go back to the front, no. Oh, and Panic End's got another penalty. That's not going to be good for his race. As we look towards the front again, Faisal now is dropping off Sheriff Woody, who's obviously on those fresh soft tyres. I think Sheriff Woody is going to probably be ahead of him enough so once the penalties come into play, we'll probably stay ahead. He's had a good race, to be fair, Sheriff Woody. He's come up 6 places, but Radical 4 seconds now behind the leader. I think he's slightly caught Wizard of Oz and the Flow. I think it's because they're fighting now. Are the soft tyres going off a bit? Because Wizard of Oz now seems to be keeping with the Flow. Those soft tyres are now 6 laps old, and I would probably say, yeah, they probably are starting to go off a little bit. But there's only 4 laps of this race to go. And remember that the Flow only has a second advantage to the Wizard of Oz. So now it gets a little bit more interesting to see who's going to come out on top of these two. But Radical will be loving this, just sitting behind, and he'll just be watching that gap very, very closely.
That he will, as we're following the fight for 6th here quite closely too. Faisal fighting with JSY, but Jay having a couple of penalties to his name, or in that case, let's have a look again at our penalty graphic. It's just the 3 seconds for Jay, and the 3 for JSY. As you see, I think critically there for Jay Undisputed, he dispatched the Tattoo Star, Panic and Locker all within like a couple of seconds of each other, as JSY joins the 6-second club occupied with Panic End, and the Tattoo Star says he wants in on that club as well. Exclusive, elusive, and you don't want to be in it, I don't think, because that now puts the Tattoo Star at risk of dropping out of the points, which, to be fair for the Tattoo Star, has been a very strong race for him so far, and a bit of a confidence booster for the Alpine, fighting away with Panic End as we go around Stowe. See there in the background, there goes the McLaren getting ahead of the Alpine, and Panic End back in the points. But can David steal some points as well? He's only 5 seconds behind Panic End and the Tattoo Star, and if they keep fighting, Jay Undisputed actually set the fastest lap there. That sidetracked me. But David could yet still store a point. As now this fight for 6th is now between 3 cars as J Undisputed has arrived on the scene. But Faisal, he knows he's got the penalties in hand. He doesn't need to fight this too hard. He just got to keep up with them.
Oh, there's
as
contact.
The Tattoo Stars made a double overtake on Locker, who's collided with Panic End.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what happened there. I don't know if it was a contact between all 3 of them and the Tattoo Star just didn't really affect him. But Locker will not be happy with that, and now he's lost some advantage of what he had in terms of penalties. If we look at the penalties quickly, he still will overtake the Tattoo Star as it stands for P9. But yeah, not ideal what you want. David Lockface actually sitting in P12 here potentially. Is he going to grab a point? He's literally on the cusp of the Tattooed Star. I think at this rate he might just grab 10th, but it's going to be very hard towards the end of the race. It's the Flow and the Wizard of Oz. Back to the front we go. Still 6 tenths in it between those two, as now Jay dispatches Aviation JSY, and now his next target will be Faisal, and then to try and pull 3 seconds in this last remaining couple of laps.
3 laps left at Silverstone. The Flow, our championship leader this evening, has got it all to do. He's got to make up 4 seconds to his closest challenger, not Wizard of Oz, Radical. He's still in range as the Red Bull to take his first victory in FPRL. Button is dropped off and is going to, I think, be a little bit disappointed actually with 4th. I think we'll have a look at our positions graphic and confirm that Button's starting in 3rd, finishing in 4th. It's better results than he's had this season, but it's like polar opposites from qualifying for Button. Brilliant. And then it just slowly fades away, sometimes not through much fault of his own, as J Undisputed has got ahead of Faisal. And now you strap rockets to that RB and you bolt to try and make that 3 seconds ahead of him. JSY, I think, all but confirmed now to finish in 8th, as Locker and David having a little feud going in towards Brooklands, and Locker wins that fight. But both of them, I think actually in the end, Locker and David actually somewhat fighting over 10th place with Panic End's penalties. But we got just over 2 laps left at Silverstone, still following the Flow, as we got half a second in. That's what Faisal had to avoid. And I think now Jay can relax a little bit and know.
Oh, Jay's off, Jay's off.
His work, as he's just about held on to it. But I was going to say, have a hard day's work and a good rest afterwards, as the Tattoo Stars left the session so late on. I think he's going to get away with it though. As Faisal's gone, he's on the grass, and that's JSY through it. It's all starting to unravel for Faisal. He's got a 3-second penalty, and he's now lost out to JSY. The only thing saving him though is the fact that Aviation JSY does have 6 seconds in penalties, whereas Faisal only has 3. But J Undisputed, potential driver of the day candidate here actually, up 7 places, and has really made this strategy work, going long, using the fresh softs to his advantage. And I'm going to jot that down from my notepad as I take to the track along with you, Monkey Boy Kurt, on Wednesday evening, 8 PM UK time, on the FPRL Twitch channel, twitch.tv/FP Racing League. Be sure to hit that follow button, because what Tier 3 produced tonight has been nothing short of stellar, and we still have 2 more races to follow. Wednesday's Tier 2 and Friday night Tier 1, both of them 8 PM UK time on the FPRL Twitch channel. You do not want to miss it, because I will give you my promise, they are going to be absolute bangers. Much like tonight, but importantly for the Flow, he has dropped the DRS and has built that 1 second buffer over Wizard of Oz, so Oz will not trouble him for the final lap, hopefully for the Mercedes' sake. But can Radical stay in range? Radical has 1 more lap to claim that elusive maiden victory around no other track but Silverstone, as Locker gets a 3-second penalty, but that might, in effect, relegate him behind David Lawface. David's still in range of a final point as we start the final lap. The Flow and Wizard of Oz, the front 2, for most of this race, but I think really all eyes here are on the Red Bull of Radical, formerly TS9. He's been in this league near enough since the beginning, and that first victory has been eluded him for so long. It's not quite happened for the Red Bull, but with 2 sectors to go, I for one, there is no better driver who deserves that victory than Radical. Every week he puts in the effort, he takes the blows, he takes the jabs, and I think now he knows he's got this one covered, as we have half a lap left to go. As much as the Flow and Oz try to scamper away, Radical is in range. Granted, a 10-second penalty for Oz, 9 seconds of penalties for the Flow. You've got to be there at the right place at the right time to seal it the victory. And as we head down through Chapel and down towards Stowe, the hanger straight for the final time, you can hang this in the Lure for Radical. It's going to be his first victory in FPRL. As the leaders approach the Vale chicane, we're going to see the Flow take the checkered flag and extend his championship lead over Panican, who's had a dire evening down in 9th. It's going to be Radical, Bedlam, absolute limbs at Red Bull. Radical takes the maiden win, and we are 4 for 4 in Season 8. Radical, you deserve it, mate. I'm going to throw off the neutral cap here. Radical, you absolutely deserve this one. What a drive. Absolute limbs in the Radical household. What a performance, mate. You absolutely deserve this tonight. The Flow, as I say, extends his championship lead in second. Wizard of Oz gets that second podium of the season in third. Button will take fourth. Sheriff Woody back on form in fifth. G undisputed from 13th to 6th. Faisal in their debut scores points in 7th. Aviation takes 8th. David Lawface takes 9th ahead of Panic End. Radical. What a shift, mate. What a drive. You are the man.
Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely deserved. No penalties. One of only 2 drivers. He's done the technically the alternate strategy, some would say, and he's made it work. And yes, people in front of him finished ahead on track, but they had the penalties. They made the mistakes, and Radical didn't. He's come from 7th on the grid to take his first win. Absolutely fantastic. He thoroughly deserves it. P2, the Flow. P3, Wizard of Oz. And as you've already said, 4th Button and 5th Sheriff Woody, who also come up from 11th on the grid. And has to be said, Jay, with the fastest lap as well, is up from 13th to P6. David Lolface comes up from P17 to P9. Very good drives all around, but I will now try and get the top 2 at least into the party. I don't know if Wizard of Oz wants to say anything over Discord or he's on the PlayStation, but yeah, a fantastic result for Radical. Well done to him.
Now I need to find where I put the neutral cap, because I've flung it somewhere. I don't know where I put it. Goodness me. I'm going to be honest when I say this. Radical. Wow, man. Just wow. I don't have the words for it, man, but trust me when I say this. I'm absolutely beaming for you, mate. Dare I say I'm even proud. So this is how Murray Walker. This is how Murray Walker felt when Damon Hill won in Japan.
You've got a lump in your throat, have you, mate?
Well, Steele in the chat says that he's actually trying for him, and I'm very, very close to it. It's actually quite emotional for Radical. His first victory, and he joined here in what, season 2?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's been there for ages.
And he finally takes that win. But I think, really, I'm just happy I was here for it, to be honest. Anyway, let's head to the showroom. Goodness me. I'll see if I can get a quick word from Wizard of Oz in the meantime, but we'll head to the Mercedes, and I think the Flow has joined. I think Radical needs to collect his thoughts, to be honest with you, as we'll get the Mercedes. And I think it's more deserving of you, Monkey Boy Kurt, to interview Radical, because I think actually one stage you two were actually teammates at one stage. I'm not too sure, but regardless, you two have been here since near enough from the beginning. So I think it's only fair. I think it's only fair that you do it with Radical tonight, because I don't think I'll be able to hold my emotions, to be honest. But yeah, I'll jump on Discord after we have a quick word with our P2 driver, the Flow. And the Flow, first off, congratulations on that podium and at least taking the victory on track, as we'll actually get the Mercedes. There we go. But you extend your championship lead, but just those penalties, they just came back to bite you in the end.
Yeah, like last week. I don't know, I just can't get rid of them. It's not helpful, but yeah, still nice to see Radical have this win. So maybe this was one good thing of the penalties in the end.
Sorry, I'm just getting a quick message here from Wizard of Oz, see if I can get a quick word from them for the stream. Say that sent. Still, as I say, you extend your championship lead now over Panic End. At the start of the evening, it was 4 points, which now you've really put that gap between yourself and Panic End, who didn't score tonight. So that gap, if my numbers are correct, is 22 points. So it looks as though after last season's woes, looks like you're finally hitting that form. You've not won this season yet, mind you, but just consistency itself is setting you apart from everyone else.
Yeah, also last week I think I didn't even have a top 3 finish. I think it was P6 and it was P3 in the sprint race or main race, not sure. Yeah, no win, but still managed to get into the lead of the championship, so quite happy with that. And yeah, so the points from this week definitely will help.
But I think next week we do have a bit of a wild card in the FPRL because, for those of you who don't know, when our calendars released back in July, for round 5 of our championships, all of our tiers had free reign over which track they wanted to compete at. For tier 3, they've selected, I can reveal, they've selected Monza. So how do you think that'll go next week?
You mean about Monza? Or?
Yeah, for Monza. How do you normally do well in Monza?
Yeah, usually quite fine at Monza, actually. Should be good. Let's see.
Well, of course, we'll find out very, very shortly in just a week's time, actually.
Yeah.
And, well, first off, congratulations to you, Flo. Second place on track, and we'll get a quick word from our third place driver, being Wizard of Oz, who's just messaged me back on Discord. Saying gutted with the 10 seconds, hoping to bounce back, and this one does hurt a little bit. And to be fair, I don't disagree with him. Had the victory in the bag, if not for that 10-second penalty. But congratulations to Radical on the win, and I think more saying cheers to Radical. I think we're all gonna have a drink and a toast to our race winner, Radical. Get this Red Bull up on screen, and Monkey Boy Kurt, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Cruiser. Well done, Flo, on your on P2. Consistent finish again, obviously higher up in the championship now from Panic End. But more on to the race winner, Radical. First of all, how you feeling, mate? Bit of a sleepy question, but... Yeah, definitely deserved today. Obviously, only one driver out of 2 with no penalties, so kept it within those white lines well, and that obviously put you in good stead for the end of the race and the win. But I just want to start with qualifying. Obviously, P7 on the grid today. I think you'd be pretty impressed with P7 on the grid. Could you got any higher up? Do you think?
I'm just cutting here real quick. Radical, have you included your audio yet for the party? Oh. Nice. We don't hear you on the stream. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. His first victory, we don't even get to hear him. Oh, for God's sake. Of course, it has to happen now. Hopefully it gets sorted. Or could actually. Well, definitely will get sorted real quick. Because I've just been told off of Steel, he can't actually hear you on the stream. But still, I think we're all overwhelmed with emotion, to be honest. But while Radical tries to get that sorted out, take a quick moment to remind you all that you can compete in FPRL through our Discord server. Type !F1 in our Twitch streams, and you'll get a link to our Discord server. Be sure to hit the link to our Discord server, complete the sign-up steps, and we'll get you on track for the approaching the second half now of our FPRL Championship season, where next week it's a tier selection race. So all 3 tracks will be different as we head to, I believe I'm correct, Monza for tier 3, Monaco for tier 2, and for tier 1, I'll need to jump on Discord and remind myself very, very quickly for our race calendars. For tier 1, thank you, Monkey Boy Kurt, we head to Singapore. Some great, interesting track selections from everyone. I see they've chosen psychotic in a way, except from tier 3. But still, Radical, hopefully we've fixed the audio issues, so just a quick mic check. Still no. Hold on, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna cancel the audio from the Twitch stream and then do it. Then we'll try it again. Has the option appeared yet? Still not hearing you. Oh, for goodness sake. Alright, this is going to be our last resort. We're going to try and invite him back into the party because I, for one, really want to hear from Radical. We're going to leave the party real quick, Radical. We'll get you back in. Goodness me. Of all people, no offence to you, Flo, but of all people for this to happen to, it has to be Radical.
None taken.
None taken. Well, at least it's getting good stead, but we're going to try and get Radical back. And hopefully it was just a visual bug or something. I don't know. But regardless, we will continue our interview, albeit like a French silent film. But we'll just have to relate what Radical says. But I can tell you right now, absolutely beaming. And, quote, welling up with a few laps to go. Just had to keep it together. And take the line. As now we'll try getting back. As I think I've got him on my friends list. I do. Invite to party. Please, Microsoft, I don't ask for much, but please let this work. Alright, we'll try it now.
Evening. Hello.
Yes! I heard you, it worked! Right, Monkey Boy chart, Radical, the floor is yours this time.
Right. Okay, right, we'll start that again. Right, well, first of all, first win, Radical. You must be absolutely delighted. But we'll start with quali. Obviously, starting P7 on the grid. Not a bad quali from yourself. Do you think you could have got any higher with any little mistakes you made in the lap that you set?
To be honest, I think that my set lap. I don't think I could have gone any quicker than that. I don't think my setup was quite right either. I was sort of tweaking the front wing up and down, trying to find the right balance. But I just stuck with that, and that was the best I could get.
Yeah, and then moving on to the start of the race, obviously, you sort of held on to the back of that train of 6 cars for the first sort of for 8 laps until a couple of them pitted. Obviously, on the medium tyres, the alternative strategy. And he did say in the comms box quite early on, especially when Flo got his first 3 seconds, that you were keeping with that pack of soft runners before you'd be in for a good result. And it seemed to be that once everyone had pitted from soft to mediums, that the gap was just not coming down. The gap was just literally staying with you, or it was even increasing a little bit. So when it come to coming in the pits, obviously the flow came in first. I'm assuming you thought, right, I've definitely got a pit now. Was it always your plan to pit on that lap, or was it a bit of a reaction to the flow coming in?
I think it was. I just wanted to see how far I could go on the tyres, but like say, hearing you and Cruiser on the stream is that he basically was acting me as my engineer, so I just had to come in anyway. It is what it is. I just tried to do the opposite of the flow, and yeah, it seemed to have not worked out on the track, but it is what it is. We got there.
Yeah, well, obviously, you didn't make the mistakes that they did. They got the time penalties you didn't, and that obviously was the key thing at the end of the race. I could see on the race director that you received 2 warnings in 1 lap, literally on about lap 5, lap 6. So you've literally gone about 20 laps with no warnings. So fair play to you. Was there ever any times where you almost went over there, or you had to sort of brake to make sure you didn't get a warning? Because you must have been literally really, really consistent just to keep it on the track, knowing you only had 1 warning before a 3 second.
Yes, because going through the first half of the Maggots and Beckett's, and then the corner just before that, I don't know the name, where I was in the dirty air of Flo, and car was sort of drifting out wide with him, but I sort of kept mine, like say, within the lines. So yeah, so I was just on edge every time going through. It's just mainly them few corners. Everywhere else on the track, I was absolutely fine. But yeah, it's just them flow corners. Just yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, the penalties came into effect. You took the race win, and your first one, you beat Gary, mate. You beat Gary, so well done.
I'm never letting this down.
No, you make sure you tell him all the time that you got a win before he did. But we obviously move on next week in Tier 3 to Monza. Could you now be given the confidence to make it 2 out of 2 potentially? How do you like Monza?
Monza, cracking track. I absolutely love it. I'm hoping I can carry on from tonight into Monza, but we'll just see how it is. With that first chicane and second, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, well, once again, I can't say it more tonight, but well done to yourself. First victory, thoroughly deserved, and 25 points for Red Bull. Well done, Radical. Back to you, Cruiser.
Cheers. Thank you very much, lads. Can I just get a shout out as well?
Go for it, mate.
I just want to say thank you to Steele for being my engineer. Thank you for Locker for, doing what he could really. Other than that, great race. P1. Come on, boys.
Well, finally composed myself to do this outro. Well, that's going to be it. And I say an emotional British Grand Prix in Tier 3. And a big thank you to everyone for tuning in and for watching for what is now, I believe, a historic occasion in FPRL. For the first time, at least in my commentary run, we've had 4 different race winners from the opening 4 races, and all of them have been maiden wins. Sheriff Woody, Rob Sue, Panic End, and now Radical. But before we go, Monkey Boy Kurt, I think we all know the answer, but I need to ask you anyway. Who is your driver of the day?
I'm going to give it to Reese today, mate.
Wow.
No, I'm joking.
Kick a man while he's down. Jeez.
No, there's only one person that gets that today. We all know who it is. Radical, you driver of the day as well. Well done to you, mate.
Oh, thank you very, very much, lads. Come on.
And honestly, I'm going to reach out as well to J Undisputed. On another day, he'd have been driver of the day. 13th to 6th, and made the Hail Mary approach work beautifully for the RB team. But that is going to be it for us from FPRL. Thank you everyone for tuning in and for watching. As mentioned, we will be back this Wednesday for another action-packed race around Silverstone, our Tier 2 race, Wednesday, 8 PM UK time on the 14th of August, before our Tier 1s close out our week at Silverstone, before we head off global for our tier selection races starting the 19th of August. And if you guys want to compete in FPRL, join our Discord server. There's no shortage of ways for you to connect. Twitch, Nightbot will drop a link to our Discord server in the Twitch chat. X, formerly Twitter, FairPlayRL, hit the Discord link on there. Our Instagram, FairPlayRL, hit the Discord link on there. And our YouTube channel, all of our socials. And this stream will be ported to YouTube, which I am fairly sure Radical's household will be watching on repeat non-stop for around until the end of time, maybe. But still, I'm going to go for a lie down because I need one after that. And I don't know about you, Monkey Boy Chart, but I think we all need a lie down after that.
I think we do, mate. But yeah, like to say to everyone, thanks for watching. It's been a great race once again, and hopefully next week as well will be a great one in Monza.
That it will. And we will see, Tier 3, we'll see you in Monza. I will see you on track on Wednesday. And this has been Cruiser 1872. And from all of us here at FPRL, get in Radical. Good night.